Unbelievable secrets of biblical prophetesses revealed. The powerful women who changed history. Few knew what truly happened that night. A sudden storm swept through the small village of Shunem, whipping the desert air into a frenzy. The cries of a mother echoed against the cliffs as a child lay lifeless. But among the chaos there was a woman, prophetess. Her name? The Shunammite woman. They said she was possessed of strange powers, gifts gifted by God. How could a mere mortal change the course of history with a prayer? Darkness surrounded her, but she found her voice. Legends whispered of her deep faith. One encounter with the prophet Elisha and the miracle that followed shook everyone to their core. She fell to her knees, tears streaming, heart racing, pleading for her son. Her desperate cries pierced the night, seeking a touch of hope in a world of despair. In ancient times, Shunem was more than a dot on the map. It was a hub of stories and miracles, a place where the divine interacted with the earthly. In those days, women were often silenced, yet she defied expectations. Her sorrow became her strength. Who dared question her? The townsfolk watched, eyes wide. Some murmured. Others were in disbelief. What was this transformation? Could the rumors be true? An encounter with the prophet brought more than answers. It unraveled mysteries. Elisha, who called down fire and parted seas, stepped into her life with words that bewildered him. I will come. But what could he do? Deliverance seemed impossible, yet she wouldn't quiver. There were shadows of doubt, whispers hinting at the absurdity of her faith. The night seemed endless, pregnant with uncertainty. Could a dead child rise again? Secrets stirred in the hearts of the people who gathered in hushed silence. They found solace in her unwavering confidence. But could such power truly belong to a woman? Tension crackled in the air. This wasn't about gender, it was about belief. She held them in her palm, the weight of their futures resting heavily on her shoulders. Would the darkness close in, or could a miracle take place as they watched? Before the dawn broke, she faced a choice. Trust or despair. The line between disaster and salvation blurred. What would the morning reveal? Hey! Before we continue with this amazing story, I need to give you an important heads up. Many subscribers have reported that YouTube unsubscribed them without warning. Take a quick second to check the red button below to make sure you're still subscribed to the channel. I'd hate for you to miss any of the exclusive content coming soon, and while you're there, smash that like button, it really helps me out with the algorithm. Oh, and tell me in the comments, which city are you watching from? I love getting to know every amazing person who's part of this community. Your participation makes all the difference. Let's connect. As the first light of dawn kissed the horizon, a stillness enveloped Shunem. The earth hung heavy with anticipation, and the air brimmed with an energy both foreboding and hopeful. The Shunammite woman's heart beat in rhythm with the universe, echoing unspoken prayers that intermingled with the soft whispers of the wind. She rose from her knees, a figure both fragile and fierce, her spirit aflame with an unwavering belief that musters courage against despair. What thoughts circled in her mind as she awaited Elisha's arrival? The village lay cloaked in the colors of dawn, yet her world felt draped in shadow. She remembered the look of her son, a lifeless shell of the vibrant boy who once brought laughter and light into her home. He had been the laughter beneath her roof, the joy that filled every moment. Now, a void gaped within her like the empty cradle she could no longer stand to see. But as memories of her child swirled around her, hope flickered within the depths of her grief. In that moment, she clung to the promise of divine intervention. She recalled the stories shared around the fires of her ancestors, the tales of those who hoped against hope and found deliverance. Was she not a part of that lineage? A vessel of faith, a bearer of lineage born from the courageous women who stormed the gates of heaven with their prayers? She straightened her back, casting her gaze toward the distant mountains where Elisha was said to be. With each passing minute, the whispers of the townsfolk grew louder, a mix of skepticism and hope. They gathered, drawn from their homes, seeking to witness the unfolding miracle or to prove a pointed testament to either faith or folly. Hereupon, judgment lingered in the air, pressing down upon her as if a giant hand sought to crush her resolve. Had her pleas and pain shifted the balance of the world? What if Elisha arrived, and heaven remained silent? As she stepped onto the threshold of her home, she felt the tremors of the ground beneath her, the pulse of a community vacillating between doubt and belief. Faces turned toward her, brimming with curiosity, some with disdain. What is a woman doing, seeking a prophet? They must have thought. Yet, amid their glances, she found allies' eyes that mirrored her sorrow, souls that understood her struggle. Together, they formed an unspoken bond, a collective yearning for the miraculous. Then, a figure emerged through the veil of Dawn Elisha, his presence radiating a calm authority that spoke to the very depths of her heart. His approach was steady, yet each step seemed to carry the weight of her dreams and fears. She felt the people's expectation, the swirling currents of their anxieties feeding into her own. The unspoken queries filled the air, thick with anticipation. Would he bring hope, or would she be met with rejection? Elisha's voice broke through the tension like a ray of sun pierces the thick fog. "Where have you laid him?" he asked softly, but there was a fortitude in his tone that ignited a flicker of trust in her heart. She led him inside, pulling the weight of the moment behind her, struggling to keep her hope afloat among the treacherous waves of uncertainty. As Elisha entered the dimly lit room where her son lay, the atmosphere shifted. He knelt beside the still form, and time felt suspended, as if the very fabric of reality shifted. In that moment, a divine mystery unfurled, a union of humanity and the divine in a tale yet undecided. The Shunammite woman stood at the threshold, an observer, yet deeply entwined in this unfolding story. Was it truly possible, she wondered, that with a single act of faith, a solitary prayer could birth a miracle? Her heart beat not only for herself but for the entire village witnessing the spectacle before them, yearning for proof of the divine. Yet still, unresolved questions lingered. Could her faith bridge the chasm between life and death? Would the unfolding events unveil deeper truths about love and sacrifice? Or would they shatter the thin thread of hope she had woven through countless nights of sorrow? A quiet reckoning loomed. Was the God she entreated truly capable of such miracles? Or was she simply a woman woven into a tale much larger than she could comprehend? As Elisha knelt beside the lifeless body, the air thickened with an ethereal tension, as if all creation paused to witness the miracle that might unfold. The Shunammite woman stood, heart racing, caught between prayer and disbelief. The villagers, peering through the door, held their breath as Elisha laid a tender hand upon the boy's chest. What thoughts danced in their minds? Would this be a moment memorialized in their history, or would the echoes of their disappointment drown out any hint of hope? "What has passed between you and him?" Elisha asked softly, his voice resonating not just through the room but seemingly through the heavens and beyond. The question weighed heavily, pressing against the woman's heart. She had not only lost her son, she had wrestled with the dreams and expectations that had been sewn into the fabric of his life, as if their destinies were intertwined. How could she voice the storm that raged within her? "I asked for nothing but the gift of life," she responded, tears brimming in her eyes, "and now my heart mourns beneath the burden of loss." The tears flowed freely, a torrent of sorrow mingled with a desperate longing for solace. She had once believed that having a son was an answered prayer, a promise fulfilled amidst her barren years. And now, that promise lay before her, still as stone. Elisha, undeterred by the enormity of her grief, rose to his full height, intentional in his movements. He stepped into the silent void where hope flickered and doubt loomed. "Return outside," he commanded gently yet firmly. The Shunammite woman obeyed instinctively, retreating into the shadows of the doorway, where anticipation wrapped around her like a cloak, heavy yet protective. The prophet closed the door behind him, cutting off the gathering storm of outside whispers. Alone with the boy, he did not pray a grand prayer. Instead, he took a moment, grounded in stillness. What passed through his mind during those breaths? Did he reflect on the power of faith that rippled through the townsfolk or the depths of trust that this mother had shown? In that solitude, what knowledge flowed between him and the divine, unseen yet palpably present? The Shunammite woman peered through the cracks of the door, trying to catch a glimpse of what transpired. She observed the prophet's intimate connection with the lifeless form. His tall figure enveloped the boy's small frame in a sacred embrace. Then, to her astonishment, she saw Elisha place his mouth upon the boy's mouth. His eyes closed in deep concentration, a fusion of spirit and body that defied reason. Was this how miracles were wrought? In a grapple between despair and divine will? The Shunammite woman felt her heart quicken, a surge of belief coursing through her like a river flowing into an ocean. She witnessed the prophet, attuned to a cosmic rhythm, drawing from the wellspring of life itself. His efforts might seem bizarre to the loosely assembled crowd outside, who could only speculate and gossip about what the prophet did in secret. Time seemed to stretch infinitely as the act unfolded, and the Shunammite woman could not tell if minutes or hours had passed. Her mind raced beyond the inanimate form lying on the bed. She imagined her son running through the fields, crafting childish adventures, and laughing freely under the sun. Would those moments return? In the depth of her uncertainty, she felt the gnarled roots of hopelessness push against her heart, threatening to suffocate the flickering flame of her faith as Elisha continued his fervent intercession. The walls of her despair began to echo her own unarticulated prayers, an immense yearning for her son's return that stretched back to a lifetime of unyielding love. The thought struck her all at once. Was there more at stake than just a single life? Could her son's potential be a conduit through which a greater plan would unfold, a living testament of faith, a vessel for truth that rippled through generations? But even as hope swelled within her, a chilling doubt whispered as a counterpoint, questioning the nature of miracles. Were they mere coincidences of solace, or could they weave deeper threads through the tapestry of existence? Could love extend beyond this world, uniting the living with the departed? In this moment of divine encounter, she wrestled with a question that resonated like the call of a distant trumpet. If her son were to awaken beneath Elisha's hands, what would that mean for her, for the villagers, and for the very nature of belief itself? Would it beckon a shift in understanding, a chance to explore whether faith could, indeed, resurrect not just a child but a collective spirit, binding the hearts of a community into a greater whole? As Elisha drew nearer to the boy, the atmosphere in the room thickened with anticipation. Time stretched taut like a bowstring, and every heartbeat resonated with the hope laden in the air. The Shunammite woman leaned closer, the fear of what lay ahead intermingled with the flickering light of faith still kindled in her heart. Elisha, feeling the weight of generations upon his shoulders, opened his eyes briefly, catching the glance of the woman through the door. In that fleeting moment, a silent promise passed between them, a shared understanding that transcended words. She had not merely sought a miracle. She had proclaimed her faith, standing firm in the face of despair. The essence of that belief anchored Elisha as he closed his eyes once more. With a fervor born from the depths of his spirit, he pressed his hands against the boy's chest, feeling for the rhythm of life that had so abruptly ceased. Drawing forth the warmth of his being, he called upon the sacred breath that had breathed life into humanity from the very beginning. "O Lord, return this child to us," he murmured, his voice low and steady, reverberating through the silence as if summoning the heavens themselves. The boy lay still, an innocent vessel caught between two realms, and for a moment, the earth seemed to pause, holding its breath along with the villagers outside. They could hear the soft whispers, but could feel nothing of the sacred tension that enveloped the enclosed space. Instead, their thoughts swamped with a mix of uncertainty and faint hope. What lay within could either solidify their faith or deepen their despair. Inside, the Shunammite woman found herself enveloped in a quiet resolve. Memories flooded her consciousness, the scent of her son's laughter, the warmth of his embrace, the moments they had shared as mother and child. Each recollection served to fortify her spirit against the encroaching shadows of doubt. Could it truly be possible that life could be restored, not just in the physical sense but also in the promises that had seemed forever lost? Elisha's breath quickened, and he leaned closer, still cradling the boy in his grasp, his heart attuned to the cosmic dance between life and death. A warmth began to radiate from the child's chest, and the prophet's heart surged with a certainty that gripped him. Something impossible yet so very real was unfolding. In the deep silence, Elisha became acutely aware of the divine mysteries at play, legends from the past whispering through the ether, urging his actions. Suddenly, a faint gasp shattered the stillness. The breath of life returned, fluttering like a trapped bird trying to escape its confines. The boy stirred beneath Alicia's touch, his eyes slowly opening, a glimmer of confusion mingling with the spark of recognition. In that miraculous moment, the boundaries between hope and despair dissolved into sheer wonder. Outside, the Shunammite woman felt the shift, her breath catching as a wave of warmth washed over her, chasing away the shadows that had cloaked her soul. She darted closer, hands trembling against the doorframe as she beheld the scene unfold, a resurrection of her deepest yearning, an echo of her whispers to the divine as Elisha pulled back, his eyes meeting the Shunammite woman's. A sort of understanding passed between them. This miracle was not merely for their sake. It was a cosmic imprint, meant to resonate throughout generations. What were the implications of this moment? Could it be etched not just upon their hearts but woven into the very fabric of faith that knitted their community together? The boy blinked, his gaze wandering over the familiar faces peering anxiously through the doorway. The crowd erupted into gasps of astonishment. Disbelief mingled with jubilant cries of relief. Had they witnessed the improbable? Could faith truly usher in the impossible? Elisha rose, still standing strong, his gaze drifting toward the horizon. What new path lay ahead for this family, this community, and beyond? Would they see themselves transformed, not merely by the miracle they had beheld but through the very meaning infused within it, an invitation to explore deeper realms of faith and connection? Amidst the clamor of joy, the Shunammite woman found herself contemplating. If a single act could spark reverberations of faith throughout the ages, what might it mean for their collective future, call to embrace not only hope but a responsibility to embody that hope for others? Thus loomed the question that hung in the air, as pregnant with possibility as the air before a storm. How might their lives now resonate through the unfolding stories of those yet to come? As the echoes of joy filled the room, the boy's awakening transformed not just the atmosphere, but the very essence of hope in the hearts of those gathered. Elisha stepped back, allowing the tidal wave of excitement to surge around him, yet he remained anchored in a contemplative state. He had witnessed the return of breath and spirit, yet he understood that miracles often carried with them deeper lessons, hidden within layers of life intertwined. The boy sat up, blinking as if awakening from a long dream. His mother rushed forward, enveloping him in a fierce embrace, tears streaming down her face. Such emotional intensity gripped the room that even the gathered crowd felt a resonance deep within their collective heart, a reminder that love could transcend despair, that joy could bloom even in the shadow of sorrow. Yet, amidst the celebration, Elisha's mind wandered beyond the tangible joy, sensing a weight of responsibility woven through the miracle. He recalled the stories of how the divine had breathed life into creation, the pillars of faith that sustained the weary and uplifted the downtrodden. In this moment, he felt a pressing urgency to stir the hearts of those present, not just to rejoice, but to awaken a consciousness that could ignite the embers of hope in others, especially in those journeys yet to unfold. With a gentle but firm conviction, Elisha turned to face those who had gathered, their expressions shifting from astonishment to longing, and he spoke. What you have witnessed today is not merely the return of a boy to his mother, but a gift offered to each of us, a stark reminder of the eternal possibilities available to those who dare to believe. Yes, life has returned, yet we must ask ourselves what our part is in this renewed breath of existence. The community fell silent, each person absorbing Elisha's words like spring rain nurturing parched earth. Here lay an invitation, a call to explore the meaning beyond the miracle, to challenge themselves to become the bearers of hope not only for their own households but for strangers and friends alike. How many had lost their way in despair? How many would need a voice for the voiceless, a hand to guide them toward light? As he continued, Elisha's thoughts drifted momentarily to the prophetic women who had come before and those yet to ascend. Their expertise had shifted paradigms, a power hidden in their narratives, waiting to be woven into the fabric of this unfolding story. The Shunammite woman, now illuminated by the light of her son's return, embodied this power. Her faith had not only prevailed but had blossomed into a legacy of courage that could ripple through time and quiet reflection. The Shunammite woman grasped her son's hand, feeling the warmth of his life pulse against her palm. The bond between mother and child spoke volumes of love, resilience, and unwavering faith. She looked at Alicia, her heart swelling with gratitude, yet also a deep yearning to understand the implications of what they had just witnessed. Alicia, she softly responded, my heart has rejoiced, but I sense there is more to be understood. What lineage of faith lies within each miracle? And how shall I carry forth the echoes of this moment when life wears those fragments of joy and sorrow? As Alicia met her gaze, the weight of her question resonated between them. It was as though they both stood on a precipice overlooking the vast landscape of their shared reality where miracles did not merely exist in isolation but ushered in interwoven narratives transcending generations. The challenge loomed then, not merely to celebrate the return of life, but to embody a bastion of hope that could extend beyond their current understanding. What ineffable stories might emerge, not just from their triumph but also from their struggles? What would it mean to transform a moment of miraculous joy into a powerful testament that resonated for futures not yet lived? The air thickened with possibility, laden with unanswered questions that lingered like the scent of rain on dry earth. How would they ensure that the miracles they experienced would sow seeds of faith, awakening dormant dreams within the hearts of their community? And in doing so, could they understand that every heartbeat carries the power to ignite the miraculous not just for themselves, but for generations yet to come? The warm rays of the sun began to dip below the horizon, casting a golden hue over the gathering, as the people slowly began to sense that this miraculous event was more than mere spectacle. Alicia felt a stirring in his own spirit, as if the very essence of the atmosphere vibrated with divine messages waiting to be unveiled. He sensed the need for quiet, offering a moment for the collective heart of the community to breathe, to ponder the changes wrought in their midst as the boy remained nestled in his mother's arms. Overflowing with gratitude, Alicia turned his gaze to the landscape of souls before him. There was an unspoken understanding that each person present was caught in the web of their own struggles and dreams, tendrils of hope intermingling with threads of despair, all holding on to the possibility that a miracle might blossom in their lives too, just as it had in the Shunammite's home. Without breaking the reverie that enveloped them, Alicia spoke gently, beloved community, let us consider the whispers of tomorrow. Let's examine how the miraculous intertwine with our paths, shaping not just the present but guiding the futures yet to unfold. What we have seen today is but a chapter in the greater story of faith and hope. Around him, the faces, still illuminated by the light of the returning boy, turned contemplative. The cries of joy transformed into whispers of reflection. Alicia continued, for every miracle, there are many who waited in faith, often with no sign of resolution. To those who have toiled in the fields of hope with empty hands, to those whose hearts have been bruised by grief, I say this, your struggles are not in vain. Each yearning, each tear has a purpose, as they bear witness to the tapestry of your life woven by the hand of the Almighty. This resonated deeply with the crowd, and the Shunammite woman held her son tighter, her heart resonating with an understanding that life carries burdens and blessings intertwined. She directed her gaze to Alicia once more, drawn by the intricate depth of his teachings. Alicia, you speak of struggle and purpose. Yet here, before us, stands the miracle. Can each heartbeat truly echo the divine, even in our frail moments? How do we transform our pain into a story of triumph? Alicia paused, allowing the weight of her question to settle, drawing in the silent breath of the crowd. The moment felt suspended, imbued with the gravity of truth and uncertainty. To carry forth the echoes of pain alongside joy is to acknowledge that the path of faith is often shrouded in mystery. He finally answered, we are called not just to seek miracles but to become vessels that nurture hope. In our moments of sorrow, may we find the strength to lift others, just as you have been lifted today. In our struggles, may we choose to create spaces for grace to flourish. As he spoke, he noticed the flicker of understanding in the eyes of the community. They absorbed not just the miracle that had transpired but the call to action woven through it. Each person was invited to contribute to a narrative grander than themselves, a legacy of love, faith, and resilience. The boy, now nestled in the warmth of his mother, seemed to sense the unfolding revelations around him. He might not yet comprehend the depth of the discussions, yet his innocence held a purity that would remind all present of the unadulterated faith that often lay dormant in the clutter of adulthood. In that moment, he was both a beacon of hope and a reminder that simplicity in belief often holds profound power. A hush fell as the sun finally disappeared beyond the hills, plunging the landscape into twilight, symbolizing the mysteries of night that soon envelop all. Alicia sensed that this was not merely an ending to the day but the dawning of even deeper questions that would linger through the darkness. What are the struggles we navigate in silence, hidden beneath our masks of composure? How do the stories of our lives, marked by both joy and sorrow, become threads that weave together the fabric of our community? As we embark on our journeys, will we dare to transform our tales of adversity into a chorus of strength and inspiration for those yet to arrive? With those questions hanging in the cool evening air, Alicia knew they had captured something precious, a treasure meant to stir the hearts of many, even as the stars began to blink awake in the heavens above. Alicia stood amidst the growing shadows, his heart attuned to the soft whispers of the night that surrounded the gathered people. The simple yet profound questions he had posed gave birth to a silent resonance, blooming like the stars scattered across the expanse above. Each heart was a vessel containing uncharted histories, intimate struggles, and dreams yearning to take flight. He felt an urge to guide them further into the realm of the unknown, into the depths where faith and doubt intertwined like vines. As night deepened, a stirring began to rise. The faint rustlings of the crowd grew into a palpable hum, a shared sense of connection solidifying beneath the twinkles of starlight. Alicia sensed that they were ready to delve deeper, perhaps even uncovering layers of truth previously concealed. With a voice soft yet clear, he invited, "Let us share the stories that have been etched upon our hearts, those moments that illuminate the path yet ahead. What have we learned in the quiet of our own experiences that might shed light on the way of others?" A woman stepped forth, her features softened by the glow of the flames that flickered nearby. "Alicia," she began, her voice quavering slightly, "I am but a humble servant in my household, burdened by the weights of responsibility. I have felt the darkness press against my spirit, nearly suffocating my dreams. Yet, within that shadow, I found stillness, a place to listen closely. I learned to whisper words of hope to my children, sharing tales of courage and faith. In this way, I transformed their bedtime into a sanctuary of belief. How could this not be a miracle?" Alicia nodded, recognizing the power of her words. "Indeed, dear sister, the work you do reverberates beyond the walls you tread. Each story shared, each tender moment nurtured, forms the bedrock upon which faith can flourish. Remember, within your trials lie the seeds of inspiration." Another voice chimed in, a young man with eyes bright with earnestness. "But what of my failures? I labor day after day, attempting to provide, yet find myself slipping into despair when hope eludes me. Can even my shortcomings breathe life into this community?" Alicia met the young man's gaze, a silence enveloping them as the weight of his question hung in the night air. "Ah, dear friend," he replied, "to stumble does not signify defeat. Rather, it invites growth. Each misstep carries the potential to teach resilience. It is the sincere heart that seeks redemption that compels the spirit to move in ways often unseen. Do not neglect the lessons born of hardship. They are the roots from which strength may arise around them." The gathering listened intently, their thoughts deepening like the night sky overhead, expanding with awe and contemplation. They recognized that the stories being shared were not isolated but rather woven into a collective tapestry that illustrated the power of vulnerability and interconnectedness. Just then, a gentle rustling came from the shadows. A figure, cloaked and unassuming, emerged. She stepped forward, her presence commanding attention. "I am Nessa," she introduced herself, "a weaver of tales handed down through generations. I beseech you to remember the voices of the matriarchs, the powerful women who spoke healing and wisdom into the life of our people. Their whispers, though often overlooked, have shaped our history." Alicia felt a stirring within him, recognizing the shift in atmosphere as Nessa spoke. What women shape our stories, and how do their trials mirror our own? He pondered aloud, inviting others to engage in the conversation. How can we honor their legacies as we navigate our own struggles? Nessa continued with fervor. We must remember that it was women who bore witness to divine encounters and ushered in hope amidst despair. The perseverance of our mothers and grandmothers is woven into the very fabric of our spirits, a legacy that speaks volumes yet remains underappreciated. Each person in the assembly absorbed Nessa's words, the shadows growing lighter with the revelation of shared experiences. The questions twirled around in their hearts like the gentle dance of fireflies, seeking form and meaning as the night deepened. They found themselves on the edge of something profound, a collective awakening. The stories of the strong women who framed their past tugged at their hearts, urging them to reflect on the unseen connections that tethered them together through time. What hidden wisdom lies within the stories and struggles of those who have come before us? As we honor their legacies, how might we, too, find our own voices, igniting the dreams forgotten or buried within? Can our journeys intertwine as we redefine what it means to embody faith, hope, and resilience in our ever-changing lives? The circle of souls surrounding Alicia drew closer, joining in this new exploration of their narrative, leaving the answers lingering like the morning mist that would soon touch the land. The evening air swirled with anticipation, hinting at greater understandings yet to be revealed. As the whispers of the night embraced them, a thick silence cloaked the gathering, woven from the gravity of shared stories. Alicia could sense the anticipation in the air, the collective pulse of desire to explore a sacred connection, one that lent courage to their identities. It was as if the very stars above leaned closer, eager to partake in their discourse. Let us not only remember our past, Alicia urged, but also yearn to manifest the lessons embedded in it, to weave our own stories as intricately as the matriarchs who came before us requires courage. Are we ready to step into that sacred narrative? Nessa looked beyond the flames, her gaze unfocused as if peering into the vast fabric of time. The trials our foremothers faced, their strength in adversity should serve as our guiding light. It is said that in silence, we often hear the loudest truths. What have we learned through history's echoes? Are we not called to bear witness to each other's struggles and triumphs? An elder man leaned forward, his brow furrowed with contemplation. Yet how can we distill their wisdom into actionable grace amid our own chaos? So many of us find ourselves overwhelmed, haunted by insecurities, buried beneath burdens too heavy to bear. He sighed heavily, the weight of his worry palpable. What if I told you, Nessa replied, that our lives are but reflections of divine wisdom? Within your burdens lies the call to authentic living. In embracing our flaws, we create spaces where healing flows. Much like the looms that we fabric from separate threads, we too must intertwine our stories, imperfections and all, to create an ever-growing tapestry of faith that a soft wind stirred, carrying the voices of the past like a gentle caress. The crowd, now tightly knit, began to share fragments of their individual narratives, moments that felt insurmountable yet shaped them into who they were becoming. The young man returned, emboldened by the weight of their collective vulnerability. What if our triumphs and struggles are not just our own but belong to the community at large? Can they be the thread upon which we sow our purpose? Elisha's heart swelled with hope. Precisely, my friend. As we recount these moments, we stitch together deeper understanding. Let us delve into the tales of our ancestors, for in their resolve, we find the fibers of our spirit. The words of the prophets and prophetesses surge through our veins. Their lessons yearn to be applied today as the night stretched onward. A deeper inquiry began to shimmer beneath every voice and story shared. What if the divine essence that lives within each of us is waiting to awaken a new purpose, a calling yet to be realized? Are we brave enough to uncover those layers, to dare to dream and engage? Then, a soft but firm voice pierced the dusk. An older woman, her hair silver like the moonlight, spoke with a conviction that seemed to echo in the very bones of the earth. To illuminate our paths, we must acknowledge the pain and the triumph. Can we dare to embrace the fractured pieces of our history while placing them in the hands of our children? What stories will be born from the seeds of our experiences? The assembly fell silent, each contemplating the weight of her words. Could they indeed carry forth the legacy of resilience, sculpting a future imbued with the wisdom of those who had come before? Elisha felt a divine current flowing among them, threading all their hearts together in a promise to nurture the dreams both spoken and unspoken. The flickering flames cast shadows that danced like memories upon their faces, a reminder of the interwoven stories of their lives as the dawn began to tease the horizon, wrapping around them like an embrace. A new question hung precariously in the air. What unseen threads connect our journeys as we honor the voices of the past? And as we step into the light of possibility, can we uncover the profound purpose that awaits in our shared story, both as individuals and as a community? The first light of dawn spilled golden rays across the encampment, awakening the earth from its slumber. The gathered souls, still shrouded in the warmth of their shared stories, felt a gentle urging to rise and draw strength from one another. As the sun ascended, the shadows retreated, revealing the raw contours of the sacred ground they occupied, fertile soil enriched by the intermingling of their narratives. Elisha sensed a stirring within him, an invitation to delve deeper into the essence of their gathering. As we embark on this new day, let us not forget that our stories are still unfolding, he said, his voice steady yet filled with reverence. Now is the moment to seek insights from the sacred texts, for within them lies the wisdom of those who walked before us. What can we learn from the parallels between our lives and those of the prophetesses who changed the course of history? Nessa's spirit lit up at this thought. The prophetesses were often unsung heroes, carrying burdens that shaped their communities. They spoke truth to power when voices trembled and offered solace when hearts were heavy. Who among us holds a piece of that divine calling, compelling us to act on behalf of our people? As if prompted by an unseen force, voices began to rise with fervor, each one bearing the weight of those historical figures: Deborah with her wisdom, Miriam with her song, Huldah with her keen insight. The tales of triumphant women resonated, weaving through the fabric of their gathering like golden threads encasing a rich tapestry. An elder woman with a voice as gentle as the morning breeze reflected, "It is often the quiet strength that goes unnoticed." Miriam sang her praise, and her song moved mountains. How many of us possess a song, a story, or a truth that has yet to find its voice? Her gaze swept over the group, pulling forth contemplative countenances that mirrored her thoughts. The young man who had earlier posed questions about community now spoke with an urgency that caught Elisha's attention. If we see ourselves in these narratives, acknowledged as leaders in our own right, will we not be held accountable for our actions? How does one balance the call of personal ambition with the wisdom of communal responsibility? In striving for greatness, can we ensure it serves the greater good? Elisha nodded solemnly, sensing the gravity of the inquiry echoing within the collective. A delicate balance, indeed. He paused, embracing the moment. In the stories we inherit, we must recognize the nuances of sacrifice, choosing to rise up for one another. To be a leader is not merely to claim power, but to uplift, to nurture an offering of our very selves to the greater tapestry. Then, a child's voice, born from the innocence of youth, erupted with a fervor that silenced the murmurs. But what happens if we fail? If our stories take turns we do not expect? How do we find the courage to live in the questions? The child's inquiry slipped through the air like a soft arrow, striking the heart of the assembly in a way that both startled and intrigued. Nessa knelt beside the child, her expression filled with tenderness. Failure has the power to teach us. It is a pathway to understanding our own hearts. What if the story of our struggle is like the seed that must fall into the ground, shrouded in darkness, before it transforms into something beautiful? Will we allow ourselves to grow from those shadows? The group sat shrouded in a contemplative hush as the sun ascended higher, illuminating the spaces between them with warmth and clarity. Fragments of shared dreams floated like dandelion seeds upon the breeze, swirling around unspoken reflections: uncertainty, fear, hope, and the desire to embrace purpose and the alchemy of their heartfelt dialogue. Something profound began to materialize: a tapestry woven from diverse threads, each representing a unique journey, intertwined yet distinct. Elisha felt the pull of the divine guiding them toward an understanding that had yet to fully unfurl. Let us not forget that our struggles are the soil from which new blooms arise. Can we honor the delicate interplay of our pain and triumph, understanding that they are but two sides of the same coin? What kind of legacy can we create when we nurture courage amidst uncertainty? As the first chimes of the day echoed in the distance, the community was enveloped in a renewed sense of purpose, yet another question lingered. What remarkable truths about ourselves and our shared destiny await revelation in the stories we dare to tell? And can we embrace the uncertainties that accompany the beauty of becoming? In the soft glow of dawn, a new day began to unfold, rich with the promise of transformation and understanding. Alicia stood amidst the assembled souls, their hearts interwoven by the brave confessions shared in the night. The Shunammite woman, with her son warm in her embrace, embodied the essence of renewed hope. Together, they were living testaments to the power of faith and resilience, a beacon of light in a world often shrouded in shadow as the sun cast its golden rays upon the earth. Alicia pondered over the profound awakening that had transpired within the community. They had entered a space not merely engaged in the exchange of stories, but had begun a journey of collective healing and revelation. The echoes of their ancestors lingered in the air, inviting them to connect the past with the present, a bridge to the stories yet to be written. Alicia, the Shunammite woman, began, her voice steady but filled with emotion. We have witnessed the miracle of my son's return, yet I feel there is a deeper calling woven within this experience. This event transcends our personal narratives. It whispers of a responsibility toward each other and the generations to come. The crowd murmured in agreement, sensing the gravity of her words. They had all felt Ida stirring within their spirits, urging them to rise and carry forth the light kindled in their midst. Indeed, Alicia replied, his heart swelling with gratitude for her insight. The divine intricacies of our stories model the unbreakable threads of connection among us. It is incumbent upon us to walk forward, not just as individuals, but as a unified tapestry of our community. We have the power to weave each story into a greater purpose, to awaken the essence of faith, love, and strength within all whom we encountered. As the villagers listened, an understanding began to blossom, in awareness that their lives were not isolated existences battling individual storms. They were intertwined, bound together by shared joys and sorrows. The Shunammite woman had bravely confronted the depths of despair, yet her triumph was not singular. It spoke of the potential held within each of them. What shall we do then? Demanded a voice from the back. How do we take this miracle forward? Excitement buzzed in the air, each individual bristling with anticipation. Let us remember, Alicia said, that every miracle calls for action. Each heart has a story that can ignite transformation, and our collective voices can light the way for those who wander in darkness. He gestured to the sun rising higher. As dawn breaks, it is our moment to illuminate pathways for others, to sow seeds of faith and love wherever we tread. The crowd began to build in energy, each person reflecting on how their own trials could yield triumphs that would uplift others. In this shared vulnerability, they began to envision possibilities unfurling like flower petals greeted by sun rationing their struggles by reframing them into tools for empowerment. A young woman stepped forward. Alicia, what if we began to share our stories beyond this sacred space? Imagine the lives we could touch, the hope we could cultivate. We could gather regularly, forming a community of strength, a haven where narratives are nurtured and embraced. Alicia smiled, seeing the profound connections igniting within them, envisioning a ripple effect that could transcend Shunem. Let us build not only a community but also a legacy of shared resilience against adversity. Let us listen deeply, uplift one another, and ensure that no story remains silent. Each of us has the ability to be a light, guiding the way for one another. The Shunammite woman rose, a radiant glow enveloping her as she embraced her son once more, his laughter spilling joy like scattered seeds upon fertile ground. May we hold fast to our newfound purpose. Let us remember the weight of history and the strength of our lineage. Together, let us cultivate a garden of hope, where the fruits of our experiences can nurture the weary. As the crowd's voices intertwined in agreement, the dawning sun cast shadows behind them and light upon their faces, illuminating hearts already ignited with love and connection. Each villager cradled their stories like precious gems, ready to share them with affectionate honesty, creating a network of empathy and understanding that resonated through the very essence of their being. Alicia raised his hands, beckoning the voices to harmonize into a chorus. Speak of your hopes, your pain, your dreams. Each confession will be a thread in this magnificent tapestry we weave together. With renewed purpose, the community began to share, laughter and tears intertwining as they recounted their tales, each voice adding richness to the collective history of Shunem. Their powerful stories rippled outward, echoing hope into the corners of their world. A divine reminder that transformation arises not solely from individual milestones, but through the embrace of every unique experience shared. They committed to carry forth not only their stories but to ignite the dormant dreams of others, bringing solace and light into every shadowed heart. As the sun reached its zenith, illuminating them fully, Elisha stood back, a deep sense of fulfillment washing over him. He beheld the gathering, not just as villagers but as a united front of faith and perseverance, ready to face a world brimming with promise. This was no longer merely a moment of restoration but the blossoming of an enduring legation, affirmation that individual struggles bear fruit as collective strength. In this sacred space of mounting purpose, Elisha's heart swelled with profound certainty. He understood that the echoes of their journey would resonate far beyond their time, inspiring others across ages to carry forth the light of belief. Remember, Elisha urged, as we stand together embracing both joy and sorrow, it is our unwavering spirit of unity that becomes a testament to the divine power of hope. Each momentuaire a vessel of miracles waiting to unfold. A hush fell over the crowd, the weight of his words settling deep within their conscience. They understood now that their stories, woven together, held the power to forge a path illuminated by love, connection, and unwavering faith. As the sun began to dip into the horizon, painting the sky with brilliant colors, the Shunammite woman looked around, filled with a sense of purpose that echoed through generations, reverberating back to the noble women who had come before her. Let us go forth, then, she declared, not just as survivors of our own tragedies, but as advocates for futures unfurling. Let our legacy be one that nurtures hope and inspires faith anew. Together, we shall rise and shine in unity, lighting the way for those who walk behind us. And so, as the day surrendered to the night, the people of Shunem stepped forward, carving a legacy of faith renewed, where every heart pulsed in rhythm, united, alive, ready to weave a tapestry of enduring miracles. They would rise together, empowered by the stories shared, the love expressed, and the faith reborn. The miracle had transformed not just one life, but touched the very essence of their community, echoing through the annals of time, a reflection of the transformative power that dwells within us all.